Blackwood College had always been known for its rigorous academics, aged Gothic buildings, and its unnerving silence after sundown. Students often joked about the looming clock tower casting shadows on the old stone courtyard, whispering urban legends of the Hollow Ones. No one truly believed them, of course. That was until the night of September 13th. Jeremy Fisher, a sophomore history major, was the first to vanish. He had been last seen in the East Library, sitting at his usual study table by the stained glass window. When his roommate, David, reported him missing the next morning, campus security found only his belongings neatly arranged on the table. His laptop open, coffee half drunk, and his notebook flipped to a page, filled with frantic, illegible scribbles. They are here. They watch. They whisper in the dark. The college administration dismissed it as a prank. Students were told not to spread panic. But then came the second disappearance. Rebecca Hayworth. Rebecca had been walking back to her dorm from an evening study session. A security camera caught a grainy black and white image of her pausing near the entrance of Blackwood Hall. She turned abruptly, staring into the empty hallway as if she had heard something. Then, she was gone. No signs of struggle. No footprints leading away. Just the security footage, flickering with static, showing the moment she disappeared into nothingness. The rumors spread like wildfire. Students whispered about the Hollow Ones, spectral figures said to haunt the college grounds. Professors dismissed them as mere myths, but the air grew heavy with fear. David, desperate to find out what had happened to Jeremy and Rebecca, began investigating. Late one night, he snuck into the East Library, following the last known locations of the missing students. With a flashlight in hand, he combed through the archives and stumbled upon something chilling: a hidden doorway behind the rows of dusty bookshelves. The door creaked open, revealing a narrow stone staircase spiraling downward. At the bottom, he found a room. Ancient, forgotten. The walls were covered in strange symbols, scratched into the stone. In the center, a rotting wooden table stood, covered in candle wax and dried blood. And then he heard a whisper. It started as a hushed breath, then a chorus of voices. David swung his flashlight wildly, illuminating movement in the shadows. Figures tall, impossibly thin, unfolded themselves from the darkness. Their hollow eyes gleamed like empty voids. Their elongated fingers twitched, reaching for him. He ran. Scrambling up the staircase, he barely made it out before the door slammed shut behind him. His breath came in ragged gasps. He had seen them, the Hollow Ones. And now they had seen him. David tried to warn the others. No one believed him. No one, except for Laura, the literature major who had been researching the college's history. Together, they unearthed the chilling truth. Blackwood College had been built atop the ruins of an old monastery, one where rituals had been conducted centuries ago to summon entities from beyond the veil. The college wasn't haunted. It was cursed. That night, David and Laura made a plan to leave. But it was too late. The power went out across campus. The night was silent. Too silent. Then, one by one, students began to vanish. The shadows moved with purpose, gliding through corridors, pulling people into the darkness. Screams echoed, then were swallowed by the void. David and Laura barricaded themselves in a classroom, their backs against the door as the whispers grew louder. The candle they had lit flickered violently. The air grew frigid. The last thing David saw was a shadow slithering beneath the door, curling around his ankles. Then, the light went out, and everything was consumed by darkness. The next morning, the sun rose over Blackwood College, casting golden light over the empty campus. The building stood as they always had, but something was missing. The students, the faculty, the staff, all gone. Detectives arrived to investigate, but there were no signs of a struggle, no blood, no indication that anyone had ever been there at all. The campus records had been erased, names removed from the registry. It was as if Blackwood College had never existed, but the legend remained. Years later, travelers passing through the forest where the college once stood swore they could hear whispers carried by the wind, soft voices calling from an unseen void. And sometimes, If the night was still and the sky was moonless, they claimed to see figures standing in the dark watching, waiting for the next ones to listen to the whispers. Decades later, an ambitious filmmaker named Eric Saunders decided to make a documentary about Blackwood College. Fascinated by the disappearances, he gathered a crew and ventured into the overgrown ruins. What they found was more than they had bargained for. The buildings had decayed, but some of the old halls remained eerily intact. Desks stood where students had once sat. Books lay scattered, untouched by time. And then, as night fell, the whispers began again. The crew's cameras flickered, their audio equipment picking up distorted voices. A shadow moved at the end of the hallway. Then, another. And another. They weren't alone. One by one, the crew disappeared, their screams swallowed by the night. Only the camera remained, its footage later found by a passing hiker. The last frame? A single line scrawled onto a dusty chalkboard. They are here. They watch. They whisper in the dark.